Have you ever found yourself sat in your comfy chair, staring at the timeline on your edit machine and wondering, are those shots really in the best possible place? Or would they be better served at a different point in time? Well, in this second of 2 parts, I'm going to help you build your own narrative arc so that you can make sure you've got the right footage at the right point on your timeline so that you can keep your audience engaged. What's up guys, it's Shiny again. I know from part 1, well now I'm going to help you build your own narrative arc to help you craft the most appealing edit possible using the footage that you have. Listen up. If you're having joined without having watched part 1 first, go back and watch part 1, because if you don't, you're going to be hella confused. Don't worry, we'll be waiting here. We won't start the party without you. Off you pop. Don't worry, waiting right here. Okay, welcome back. Good to have you back. What did you think? Fantastic, wasn't it? I know. Now I'm going to give you the steps you need to create your own narrative arc. Then I'm going to give you an example. So first things first, you need to familiarize yourself with your rushes. Watch all of the rushes through from beginning to end and get a sense of what it is that you have to work with. Try and do this all in one session so it stays in your brain and stays fresh. At this point, I tend not to make any selects or do anything with the footage. All I'm doing is familiarizing myself. I just need to get a feel for the emotion, the vibe, and what it is that I have to work with. I sometimes make notes on paper so I can remember what happens and when. Once you're familiar with the rushes, then you need to figure out your film's why. Why are you making this film? Write it down, stick it on a post-it note, stick it above your edit station so you can reference back and forth to it. Now, if you need a bit more explanation as to what your film's why is and why you need one, I explain a bit more about this concept in another video which I'll link to in the description. Now you've figured out your film's why, you need to figure out the human. Who's the human at the other end watching your video? I go a bit more into detail over figuring out who your viewer is and why this is super important in another one of my videos. Now, we're finally going to build our narrative arc. These are some of the things you need to consider when drawing your own narrative arc. You need to think about the platform. Where is the person going to be viewing your film? Some platforms, like all of the action, the excitement right up the front. Some will allow you to take things a bit more slowly and the audience is a bit more forgiving. So remember, take the platform that this is going to be viewed into consideration. Also think about the duration of your film. Trying to create a strong narrative arc from a 6-second film is going to be pretty tough. But what you can do with films that are super short is try and get an emotion from your viewer. A strong emotional reaction is going to stick with a viewer better than just showing them the product. Which leads me on to my next point. What is the emotion of your film? And how can you elicit that from your viewer? Another consideration is the footage. How are you going to create that emotion if your footage doesn't inherently have it? Think about your viewer awareness. Someone who is new to the brand or issue is going to want a bit more excitement up front and will need hooking in. Whereas someone who's a big fan of the brand or the issue that you're talking about is going to be a lot more forgiving of lingering shots and a slower introduction. Think about the genre of your film and the category. What film is this? Is it a documentary? Is it a music video? Is it branded content? All of these things will play into how you think about and how you construct your own narrative arc. Okay, so now I'm going to give you an example using a made-up brief. So a client has come to me with some rushes. They're after a branded documentary for IGTV. They're looking for a duration of around 60 seconds. It's an interviewee question format with non-scripted answers, and they've got a mixture of B-roll. The audience that's going to be watching it is warm. They know the brand and the issue. They're not super fans, and they want it to be quite light-hearted. So this is the curve that I would draw. I'd start with a bit of excitement to hook the audience in and then bring about some conflict quite quickly. And then I bring the excitement and the pace up for the end, throw in another joke, make it a bit more light-hearted, end on a high note. And actually, the value of the curve can be anything you want it to be, really. It'll change from film to film. Okay. Hopefully now you should be able to build your own narrative arc. You've got an example so you can see it in action. If you watch it back and you feel like your attention is dropping a bit, it might be because the narrative arc isn't the best fit for the film that you're trying to create. But you have this narrative arc now, so you can see, okay, so this point is a low point in the arc. Perhaps that is better put towards the end when we've had a bit more introduction and we know our characters and their personality and it fits better. So you have the pieces of the jigsaw puzzle. Then it's just a case of putting them in the right place to create the emotion or the narrative arc that you want to create. I'm going to introduce you to one more literary term while we're on this subject and how it's useful for you as an editor. It's called Chekhovs Gun. And Chekhov said this: if in Act 1 you have a pistol hanging on the wall, then it must fire in the last act. Which basically means if you draw attention to something in your film, you need to reveal later why it was important to notice that thing. In other words, everything that needs to go into your film should answer your why. So the concept of a narrative arc from afar might seem a bit abstract, but actually when you zoom in closer, it gives you some of the minute details you need to create a really strong story. Now, as with every rule, there is always an exception. One thing I will say is, only once you know the rules can you then know how to break them. So hopefully now you have a clearer idea of what a narrative arc is and how it can help you. So let me just round this up nicely for you. Creating your own really strong narrative arc is a way to figure out what footage should go where in your edit and how you can use that to keep the viewer's attention. Some of the variables you need to consider when making your own narrative arc are platform, duration, footage, emotion, viewer awareness, category, and the genre of your film. And once you have a strong narrative arc, you'll be able to keep the viewer's attention, prevent confusion, leave them feeling satisfied and want them coming back for more, and it will achieve your desired call to action or your film's why. So tell me, how else do you know where to use what footage on the timeline? Comment below and let me know. And if you have any other tips or tricks, I would love to hear them. Also, if you've got anything that you're struggling with, any concepts or ideas that just don't quite make sense, comment below and let me know and I'll do my best to answer them. I want to help bring clarity to some of the concepts and theory behind editing to make you a better editor. So don't forget to like and subscribe and share as well. And the more I do, the more I'll be able to help you. Thank you so much for watching. Ciao. See ya. Okay, bye.